I'm very pleased to be tonight here in Berlin, which is certainly an important stopover in my tour to the capitals. I came here in my capacity, I came to the Chancellor and in my capacity of President of the European Council after being here just a year ago as Prime Minister of Belgium. The function of the President of the European Council, which was created by the Lisbon Treaty, is a new function and needs to be shaped in order to fulfill the task of this function, which primarily are ensuring continuity of action at the European level and coordinating positions of the heads of state of government. It is my wish to create close, trustful, good and constructive relationships with all the members of the European Council. I took up office very recently, but there is no time to waste to tackle the challenges which are ahead of us. Firstly, I feel deeply committed to making a constructive contribution in order to make the new treaty function smoothly as possible and to help that this treaty deploys all its possibilities to benefit to citizens, which after all is the primary purpose of the European Union, and to strengthen the role and the influence of the Union in the world. Of course, this needs close cooperation and coordination with the European Commission and with the rotating Spanish presidency. Secondly, there are two big challenges facing us which will require the full engagement of the Union at the highest level, and to which I will dedicate most of my energy and time over the coming months. It means tackling the economic crisis and responding to climate change. A successful handling of these difficult issues is decisive for the near and remote future of our continent. For this reason, I took the initiative to convene an informal meeting of the heads of state and of government on the 11th of February to examine these two issues. The discussions with Chancellor Merkel of this evening will also serve the purpose to prepare for this meeting and explore ideas and approaches to solutions. The first objective of this meeting is to examine how we can secure a full and lasting recovery in the Union after the crisis. The question is how we can put in place structural changes which are necessary to sustain further structural economic growth. One thing is clear already now. We need economic growth which is sustainable and which is at least 2% instead of the projected structural growth of 1%, in order to preserve our social model and as well as to keep up with the other major economies in the world. This is why we will take a close look at formulating a new economic strategy and the governments which we need in order to help member states come to a higher growth path. Many, partly controversial and diverging ideas and suggestions will be put on the table, but I am confident that we will succeed in distilling the best of these ideas in order to shape the preconditions for a sustainable economic recovery. What I can say already now is that I consider it crucial that the heads of states of government are closely associated from the outset with the process. This will ensure their commitment to implement what has been agreed. At our meeting of the beginning of February, I plan to have an extensive discussion on the future strategy without aiming at being conclusive. Then later on, at our regular spring meeting, we will have a more structured discussion in the light of our February brainstorming and on the basis of a communication from the Commission. And finally, the aim is to approve the new strategy at our June European Council. The second important issue we will discuss in February is combating climate change. This is not a policy field like others. It is an issue which is followed closely by the public and which is a test case for the efficiency and trustworthiness of political decision makers. Even if the Copenhagen Accord falls short of EU expectations, it provides a basis for further work. The Union gave its unequivocal support to the text of the Accord of the Conference plenary session. We will know at the end of January the quantitative targets of the various countries in terms of CO2 reductions. And in the light of these commitments, we will be able to assess what is still needed to reach the objective of limiting the rise in temperature to a maximum of 2 degrees, a goal which now is generally acknowledged. One thing became clear in Copenhagen: this process is probably more complicated and complex than we have thought. And therefore, I think we need to take sufficient time over the coming months to reflect carefully on the lessons to be drawn from Copenhagen. And above all, we need to reflect on strategic questions: how we can reinforce the influence of the Union as a union at the international level, how we can enhance our persuasive strengths, how we can best take the process forward. Germany will have an important role to play in the continuation of this process, in that it will be the host of the next important UN meeting in Bonn at the end of May, beginning of June, which is halfway to the next UN climate conference in Mexico in November 2010. And I am confident that the German government will fulfill this role very skillfully. On this occasion, I would also express my appraisal for the commitment of the German government to take forward the climate protection agenda, and in particular for the personal commitment of the Chancellor to this very important issue. A last word about what happened in Haiti. My thoughts go to the numerous victims and their families of the catastrophe which occurred today in Haiti. I wish to express my utmost solidarity to the Haitian people and to all those who mourn victims. Locating the displaced persons and saving these in distress should be the first priority. The European Union stands ready to offer its assistance in any possible way. Thank you.